TravelWise with Phil Blizzard. News, views and interviews.
Very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Let me welcome you on our flydubai flight to Pattaya and extend special welcome to our Skywards member and loyalty program of Emirates and flydubai.
Thank you very much and welcome on board to our special TravelWise podcast on this Boeing 737 MAX going to Pattaya, or is it Pattaya? We'll find out when we get there. A brand new service from flydubai across to the land of smiles, and we're going to be giving you some ideas of what to do in Pattaya. Also, Pattaya is a good gateway to Bangkok. It's only about 1 hour away, so we'll be exploring that. But as usual, we're starting off the program with aviation news. So welcome on board my flying studio on board this 737 MAX, and I'll tell you about the route after we have the latest aviation news.
TravelWise. Aviation news.
Aviation news and some news which has come in since the recording of our last podcast featuring aviation news. And we have news from flydubai, their annual results for last year, also their new routes to Saudi Arabia. And talking of Saudi Arabia, the hottest news, the latest news really, is regarding a new national airline for the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. It was announced on March the 12th by the country's Crown Prince, Mohammed bin Salman, that the new flag carrier, and this has been on the cards for quite some time, will be called Riyadh Air. So formally launching the new airline in the Saudi capital, he said it would be a wholly owned subsidiary of the country's sovereign wealth organisation, the Public Investment Fund, PIF. In a speech that was, what shall we say, somewhat short on detail, he confirmed that former Etihad Airways Group CEO Tony Lewis has been appointed CEO of Saudi Arabia's new flag carrier, Riyadh Air. The announcement made no real details, really. I mean, what we want to know really is going to be sort of the timescale for establishing the new airline, some idea of the routes they will be focusing on, and also details of, as they say, equipment, well, details of the aircraft they will be using. So we await that. But we can say that the new airline for Saudi Arabia, the new flag carrier, will be named Riyadh Air. As for their existing flag carrier, Saudia, nothing was mentioned how they will fit into, what should we say, the country's changing aviation landscape. Okay, let's go and stay with Saudi Arabia, and flydubai have announced that they will be launching 4 destinations in the kingdom. These include the start of flights to Neom from, the middle of March, to Najran from the 18th of March, and later in the month, Al-Qaysumar on the 21st of March, and Jizan on April the 26th. So there you go. Right, staying with flydubai, on the 1st of March, and this was slightly after the recording of our previous aviation news. That's why it's coming into this one. This is a bit of a special news update, really. Dubai carrier flydubai announced annual results for the year ending the 31st of December 2022, and I guess they're very happy with what they announced on that date. So they reported a historic profit of 1.2 billion dirhams. That's a whopping $327 million US, an increase of, and this is very impressive, 43% compared to the previous year, 2021. So really reflecting the carrier's strong business model built on cost efficiency and agility.
TravelWise. Aviation news.
That's the latest aviation news. Well, today we're flying out of Dubai, been looking at the route map, out of Dubai, over the Hajj Mountains to the Arabian Sea, then across the huge country of India to another sea, the Andaman Sea, which is on the border of Thailand, and going down Burma at the top and then down to Thailand, and then landing in Pattaya. So, a lot to explore, a lot to see, a lot to do in the land of smiles.
TravelWise with Phil Blizzard. News, views and interviews.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Pattaya. The local time here is 7:55 in the evening. Please remain in your seat with your seatbelt fastened until the aircraft has come to a complete stop and the seatbelt sign has been switched off. We hope that you enjoyed your flight today, and we look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you for choosing flydubai in partnership with Emirates. Have a good evening.
And landing at Pattaya Airport, which is known as Utapao, after a 7-hour flight, a very pleasant flight on board the 737 Boeing MAX of flydubai. Now, welcome to this podcast. I'm calling it a Gateway to Thailand podcast because Pattaya is a new route into Thailand from the Middle East, with flydubai offering the daily service. Some daytime flights, some evening flights, so check out schedules for that. Now, in this podcast, what can you expect? Well, we'll take a look at getting around Pattaya and the other part of the northern Gulf of Thailand. We'll be taking a look at some places to stay or not to stay in the case of Pattaya, and also different developments, okay? So quite a lot to get through. I'm going to catch up, first of all, with an old friend of mine. He's lived in Thailand for a long, long time. He's, in fact, running a radio station in Hua Hin called Surf FM. His name is Richard Jackson. He's been on these podcasts on numerous occasions. And this time, I want to know, Richard, is it Pattaya or Pattaya?
Well, it's kind of a yin and yang, really. I mean, I call it Pattaya. I always have done. Some people call it something else. So, that's fine.
Is it fair to say it's Bangkok on the sea?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Okay, fair enough.
Close.
Elaborate.
But, government is developing that whole region of Pattaya. All right. So if you take Bangkok up in the north, it's like, at the top of the tooth. There's Bangkok. To the southwest is Hua Hin. To the southeast is Pattaya. Yep. And, of course, you've got the Gulf of Thailand, so you can go down there. So they're really developing all of that stretch from Bangkok through Chonburi down to Pattaya, down to Rayong, which is more of an industrial area. It is on permanent development, really. Pattaya is still a bit of a fun sin city, I guess. A lot of people might call it that. But it's also got cleaned up quite a bit. There's a lot of good stuff down there. There's a lot of good facilities. If you like, I guess infrastructure is a lot better than it was, and the quality of hotels and stays there are much, much better than, say, 5 or 10 years ago. So there's been a lot of development, and the other thing is that they really want to boost the IT infrastructure around that area. They're really trying to, encourage business to develop there. There's a seaport at Chonburi, and of course the airport, the Pattaya airport, which is actually called Utapao Airport. That's been under renovation and expansion. That's pretty well ongoing. And they're also developing a high-speed train between the airport and Pattaya through Chonburi up to Bangkok. So, the whole region is really in the process of being developed.
Yeah, and from what you're saying there, could be the Silicon Valley of Thailand with the interest in IT and so on.
Thank you, Richard. Always good to catch up with you. And continue on the theme of infrastructure development in this part of Thailand. The airport we flew into, Utapao, at the moment is, what should we say, a bit on the short side when it comes to amenities, because on the way out of Thailand back to Dubai, a little delay, and I want to get a coffee. Well, it was quite interesting actually, because you went to a little kiosk. There was an urn of hot water there, and the coffee came in a little sachet. Same with the tea in a tea bag, and you did it yourself. That's how it was. There was a very small duty-free shop open, and that was about it. So if you need anything, or you're thinking of buying some snacks, some sandwiches, get them ahead of arriving at Utapao Airport. Anyway, big news there regarding infrastructure development. The Thai authorities, the Thai government, in fact, are offering or promising to build a $9 billion dollar aviation city for tourists based around Utapao Airport, which has got a lot of history. It was used during the Vietnam War. And it was a base there for Americans to fly in the ammunitions and logistics to go up to northern Thailand to take part in that war. Anyway, the airport itself is in a good location. It would support the main airport for Thailand in Bangkok, but also being constructed and developed as an aviation centre, with cultural villages, retail for retail outlets for shopping, entertainment as well. And they're talking about starting on this year. And they're looking forward to developing Utapao or Pattaya International Airport, which could eventually receive between 60 million and 75 million passengers per annum. construction on what is going to be a mega project, a mega structure to begin early this year, 2023. So there you go.
TravelWise with Phil Blizzard. News, views and interviews.
TravelWise in the land of smiles, Thailand. I'm Phil Blizzard, and the focus really is Pattaya or Pattaya, and looking at various aspects, some of the attractions there, also where to stay, perhaps where not to stay. And we were talking about the new airport, and staying with aviation, a bit of an aviation theme there, because one of the attractions I found in the centre of Pattaya was Terminal 21. Aircraft outside, luggage inside, and a lot of aviation aspects. It was a shopping mall, a fairly new shopping mall, and you could go off to different parts of the world, and different floors would have different themes, so that was quite interesting. If you're an aviation buff, go along. There's a couple of big aircraft outside, and a very much a strong aviation theme. There's also one in Bangkok as well. It's part of the King Group, or King Power, I think it is, who are sort of the duty-free people in Thailand itself. Well, what about getting around? We'll have a look at that. There's a couple of good tips for you coming your way regarding getting around the land of smiles, not just Pattaya, and also accommodation and my thoughts of this gateway, a gateway to Bangkok, gateway to other parts of Thailand, including my journey down to Hua Hin, the Royal Resort.
TravelWise with Phil Blizzard. News, views and interviews.
Getting around in Pattaya, the Gulf of Thailand area, in fact in Bangkok as well. Good way to download, start off and download the Grabit app, which is in English as well as Thai, and it's a way, it's like an Uber really, except you don't have to put money up front for getting a taxi, and it'll tell you where the taxi are, how close they are and how long it will take to get you. So Grabit is a good way of getting information and booking taxis. The way, I travelled around a lot from Pattaya down to Hua Hin and back up to Bangkok. So I had a job in Bangkok and back down to back across to Pattaya, and a car with a driver, really good value. Let me give you a couple of examples. Pattaya to Bangkok, which is about an hour and a half or 2 hours, costs with a driver, very nice car, driver, and always supplied water as well. Around about, so let me convert it quickly, about 150 dirhams, not bad, eh? And then from Pattaya down to Hua Hin, which is a 4-hour journey, that was like 300 dirhams. So a good way to relax, enjoy the ride down. Can be very interesting. You see all sorts of things on the road down from Pattaya down to Hua Hin. Now, as for Pattaya itself, well, a bit of a shock the first night. Dark, 10 o'clock, going to the heart of Pattaya. And I wouldn't go back to that part again. Bit on, what should we say? A bit on the seedy side. Loud bars, loud music. European guys doing what they do when they're away from home, I suppose, and decided to move on the next morning. We checked out the hotel a day early. It was going to have 2 nights there to check out Pattaya. But a completely different story on the return. So I'll give it another go. On the way back, I thought, give it another go before I fly back to Dubai. So went to an area called, it was a beach area, Wong Amat, which is very, very nice. It's northern Pattaya, before you get into the main part, the seedy part. Wong Amat is there. And a very nice hotel, boutique hotel, Golden Tulip, a name we know of in the Middle East and UAE. And they got a very nice hotel, beach resort, not very big, got private beach, very, very nice indeed. Lots of good little restaurants up the road. So a little tip for you, if you fancy somewhere a bit on the quiet side, away from the hustle and bustle of the city centre, why not try Wong Amat area? Several hotels there, a lot of condos, a lot of apartments for rent, and quite a few Europeans. I'm bumping into the odd person, well, the occasional person I know from the Middle East. So it's a nice area. Wong Amat and the Golden Tulip, highly recommended. The Golden Tulip Resort.
TravelWise with Phil Blizzard. News, views and interviews.
Welcome back to my Pattaya experience, the gateway from Dubai, the Middle East, with flydubai into Pattaya, and a gateway to other parts of the land of smiles. Now, I was saying I found a very nice boutique hotel in Wong Amat, which is northern Pattaya, and it was the Golden Tulip Resort and private beach and everything else there. And not far, looking out to sea, be on the right-hand side, one of the big attractions for this part of Thailand, the Sanctuary of Truth, which is an amazing temple fortress made of wood. It's the largest one in the world, apparently, and the construction is still going on. It started 40-odd years ago, and a tour of the temple is absolutely inciting, and a tour of the temple is fascinating. Guided tour with guides talking in different languages. So obviously I went on the English one. My Thai's not that good. I know a bit of Thai, of course. But anyway, guided around the temple. It's absolutely fascinating. It's a massive structure. And all the carving is done by hand. There's basically an army of carvers and artisans who are creating magnificent wooden carvings, which are then placed into the temple, going up and up and up, about 500 feet, I do believe. Absolutely huge. Started, as I said, 40-odd years ago. Work still underway in terms of additional work to it and also renovation of some of the older pieces. Other things to do there at the temple, well, there's activities like a riverboat ride. There's the gardens, which are extremely relaxing, some fine Thai music being played, and rides on elephants, if you like that sort of thing. I know it's a bit of a discussion point. Should elephants be used to provide rides for tourists? Well, they look extremely well. They seem to be really well looked after. So, and yeah, if elephants smile, these were smiling. They were indeed, especially when they got food from the visitors to the Sanctuary of Truth. Fantastic place to go and visit. Well worth it. Okay. I'm Phil Blizzard with the podcast TravelWise, and in part 2 of this special, which will be in a few weeks' time, we'll be going from Pattaya, it's a gateway, as I said, to other parts of Thailand. So that will be in part 2 of our special Pattaya Gateway podcast here on TravelWise.
TravelWise with Phil Blizzard. News, views and interviews.
And if you would like to have a podcast production for your organisation, do get in touch with me. Drop me an email, philblizzardmedia@gmail.com.
A Phil Blizzard radio production. TravelWise with Phil Blizzard. News, views and interviews.